Hello and welcome to Threefold Herbal Healing. I'm Herbalist Leo. I help people who struggle with chronic conditions grow their health from the roots up. This is the third video on a series of video about seeds. The first video I was speaking about seeds in mythology and spiritual practice. Seeds go way back with human evolution, so it's very interesting to look at how we use seeds, not just in agriculture. The second one is actually about agriculture. It's about seeds and food safety. I think it's a very, very important topic that we don't speak enough about. And I think that if you are in the business of eating, you're in the business of seeds. So I suggest you go and listen to that one. And today I'm going to speak about seeds as food because human being ate seeds for centuries or even longer, millions of years. And we still, seeds are a major nutrition source for us. Most of our plates is actually made of seeds. If it's rice, if it's pasta, if it's bread, pizza, legumes, nuts, we eat a lot of seeds. So I want to talk a little bit about how you can optimize the use of seeds in your diet. Our ancestors, the hunter-gatherers, used seeds of grass they collected as an important part of their diet because seeds are a good source of carbohydrates and protein. When agriculture developed around 10,000 years ago, grass-producing grains and legumes were the first crop that the first farmers cultivated and domesticated. Grains, nuts, and legumes are the seeds of the plants that produced in the final parts of the plant's life process. At the end of the growing season, when the plant dies, it will leave behind it its seeds to create the potential next generation in the next growing season. The entire goal of seed production is the survival of the species. So most seeds contain three layers. One, the inner layer, is the embryo. It's a baby plant, usually include a tiny root, a stem, and one leaf, and the entire thing contains the DNA of the species. So it contains all the wisdom and the development and what the species collected in all its evolution. Then there is another layer that is nutrient dense, and it contains carbohydrate, protein, and fats. This is a very nourishing layer. It also contains vitamin and minerals, and that layer is there to feed the embryo until it develops its first roots and first leaves and can feed itself. The outer layers of seeds is a thick coat that is there to protect the embryo from harsh environment. It could be winds, it could be floods or drought, it could be animals stomping on it. It's there as a protection. Grains, nuts, and legumes, to some extent, all of them, became a staple food and are the primary source of calories in a human diet, but also in farm animals' diets. So most farm animal, at least as part of their life, eat grains. Phosphorus is a mineral that plays a key role in cell division and the development of fruit, stems, leaves, flowers, and fruits. So seeds need phosphorus in order to develop into a whole plant. The compound that serves as the storage room for phosphorus in seeds and grain and legume is called phytic acid. So inside this brown thing, this protective layer around seed, there is phytic acid, and that phytic acid contains phosphorus. Phytic acid, like I said, it's concentrated in the brain, the thick coat that protects it. The six phosphate groups of phytic acid act as arms. They send arms that strongly bind to positively charged mineral ions like calcium and iron and zinc and magnesium. When this is happen in your gut and your phytic acid from the grains, the whole grains that you ate, is binding to those minerals, the phytic acid might trap them in its complex, and they may pass through your digestive system without you absorbing it. People who eat a lot of all grains and legumes might develop deficiencies for minerals like calcium, iron, zinc, and magnesium because the phytic acid just bind to those and like take them with it into the poop. That is why phytic acid is considered anti-nutrient. So it's not just not giving you a nutrition, it's actually collecting nutrition that come with other food into your body and taking it out of your body. That is why it is called anti-nutrient. Another anti-nutrient that is found in the outer layer of grains and legumes is lectin. Lectin plays a role in protecting the embryo from predators and pathogens, but it can interfere with calcium, iron, phosphorus, and zinc absorption. So we have two anti-nutrients, lectin and phytic acid. So if the outer layer of grains and legumes contain anti-nutrient, why not eat just refined grains? There is a reason. Studies found that there are some pros to phytic acids. Phytic acids display a broad range of medical properties. It's a good antioxidant, it's neuroprotective, it's anti-inflammatory, and it has the power to reduce blood fat, lipids in the blood. So for people with high cholesterol and high triglycerides, phytic acid might be helpful. The bran that contain the phytic acids and lectins is essential for stool formation. So all this bran is actually fiber that you do not absorb, but it can help, it will help form the poop. People who eat only refined grain without this fiber don't consume enough fiber. Therefore, they might struggle with constipation because there is nothing there to bind together the stool and help push it out. Another thing is that although we don't absorb the fiber ourselves, the outer layer of grain, nuts, and legumes play a vital role in managing blood sugar because they slow down the nutrient absorption, especially glucose absorption from the food we eat into the blood. So what happens is that if you eat a refined grain, it reaches your gut and immediately very easily absorbed into the blood, and it causes spike in blood sugar that is followed by a dip. If you eat carbohydrate that are attached to fiber, the absorption in the gut will be much, much slower. So there is not going to be a spike, and therefore there is not going to be a dip. Your blood sugar will be much more balanced and steady. Another thing that happens with fiber that we don't absorb it, but gut bacteria thrive on it. It's nourish your gut bacteria and create a diverse ecology that is very good for your health. Gut bacteria is important for the gut-brain connection, for immune system, for mood, for bowel movement. So you want to support your gut bacteria, and the fiber, this bran that contain the lectin and the phytic acid, is important for healthy gut bacteria. So the question is, of course, how do you eat the cake and leave it full? How do you eat whole grains, but still handle the phytic acid and the lectin? So we take a lesson from animals. Animals that feed on plants alone, like cows and deers and goats, uh, developed four stomachs that allow them to ferment grains in their stomach. The fermentation process breaks down the outer layer of grain, reducing lectin and phytic acid, therefore allowing better absorption of those minerals that we talked about. And at the same time, it breaks the outer layer of the seeds and increase the bioavailability of the nutrients that are in the seed itself. We all know that different types of grains develop in different parts of the world. People in the Far East eat a lot of rice. In America, people used to eat a lot of corn. In the Far East, in the Middle East, the Mediterranean, they grew a lot of grains like wheat, rye, and barley. So different grains grew in different places. Although there were different grains in different areas of the world, in all areas of the world, there was a common tradition. In all traditional kitchen, the soaking and fermenting of grains and legumes for at least 24 hours, but sometimes longer, was a common practice. Everywhere in the world they did it. So what the cows and the deers and goats and other plants that eat a lot of grains are doing inside their body, between all their stomach, this fermentation, human being traditionally did outside of the stomach in their kitchen. So I look at those people, at those traditions, and I learned from them. Before cooking grains and legumes in my kitchen, I soak them in room temperature for 24 hours or longer. If I do longer, I like strain the water and put fresh water. I do find that it makes digesting them much easier. So before before you cook rice and you know, the fermentation of sourdough is a good example. You want to break down the grains. I'm always filled with awe when I contemplate grains, nuts, and legume as the embryo of a plant. We take it so for granted that we eat it, but those are the embryos of plants. They hold within them all the wisdom and all the history of the species they belong to. Just kind of stop a moment and look at it. All this history, all this, it's a huge library inside those seeds. They contain also not just the history, not just the past, they have within them the future of the species. When we eat them, they share all that wisdom with our body. So it feels so at all with them. That is it for today. I hope it was beneficial. Thank you for listening. I hope you really enjoy those videos. If you want to leave me a comment in the comments or a question, I would really appreciate it. I would be very grateful. Sometimes it feels like I'm talking to the void. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.